What it do is the High Life Crew is your boy Huncho, and today we gonna be reviewing how black people stole white people history or culture, and then they think that is their own. Let's get into it, man.
Counting on money for sure. Can't fuck with no skinless whore. Money bag, finger rolls. Check these tags on my.
We're gonna start with the Italian mob. Scarface, Lucky, Luciano, you feel me, who was considered the father of modern organized crime in the United States. He established commission in 1931 after he abolished the boss of bosses title held by Salvatore Marengo following the Casatella Marengas War. Luciano was also the first official boss, but basically he was a white guy that was that was considered the first gangster in the United States. And then after we started watching Scarface and these movies and started seeing the Italian mafia, the mob, the Italian mob, how they was bringing drugs in and all this shit. We started idolizing that before then. Before then, we was well dressed, we was well groomed, we had suits on. I'm talking around like the 1940s, the 1950s, right when we got out of like slavery and stuff. We was intellectual people. We was married at the rate of 64% in 1950, 61% in 1960, and then it went downhill to like 32% in 2008, which is kind of freaking crazy. 74% of whites was married in 1960, and their marriage rate only dropped to 56% in 2028 compared to our 32%. But we was married at 64% in 1950s. That is a big tell. But in my opinion, the reason this happened was because around that time was when, government assistance started coming around. The black women started lost faith in the black man, because imagine you seeing a man that's getting dominated by another race of man his whole life. So now you're like, you get some type of like what's this thing called when you start falling in love with your like your captor, the person who done capture you. That's what black women started getting. So they got this God complex to white men. They think they're superior because it was able to capture us. Well, not capture us, because technically we sold ourselves into slavery. So they wasn't like coming out there being like, come here, nigga, fucking whipping us with lassos and shit, and we running away and they like chasing us, and it was not like that. It was like, it was a more civilized, peaceful trade. The people who got sold into slavery was basically the ones that was like poor. They wasn't really like strong will or able to, or they had debt, or their parents sold them into slavery, somebody captured them, sold them into slavery. It was a lot of reason, but fast forward, that's how we got captured. So imagine our women looking at us as less than, because back then they used to SA black men in front of the group to kind of like get this power over him. Like, yeah, nigga, I just took down y'all toughest nigga. What are y'all gonna do? And they all lose confidence. It's sick, but it's effective. I get both sides. It would never in my life would I ever do that, but for them, they was looking at us like we're savages. You feel me? You feel me? How can you tame these people? You know? that's when they started implementing homosexuality. That's when they started implementing homosexualities into our community. And then now we have a good amount of our teens or young adults growing up thinking that they're gay because they was told, or my opinion, most gays was like touched as a young kid, or like had something happen to them as a traumatic as a young kid, and they grew up and some something in their brain snapped, or it just like clicked or malfunctioned, and now they like believe that they're a boy but they're actually a girl, or they're a girl and they're actually a boy. No, or they could just be attracted to the opposite sex. But I will give them this: homosexuality has been around since like the 2400 BC, around the when they had like mummies and stuff, man, before Christ type shit. So it's like and homosexuality was in ancient Greece. The highest elder practiced relationships with little boys, which we would consider um the P word today. Ancient Rome was homosexual. The Renaissance, Israel, ancient Egypt, basically been around forever. But that don't justify the, because they all in their texts they forbid it, but it's a good minority of them that goes against their teaching and they practicing this thing, and they're always like punished for it. You could look at the Greek, I mean the Romans. Israel was burned down. The Solomon and Gomorrah was burned down because that was a city where they was like practicing that heavy, you know. Ancient Egypt guys used to wear makeup, practice homosexuality. And the fall of each empire happens as they flee away from like the original, like how we first started, our first thought process, or our first beliefs. We stray away from that to live this more comfortable lifestyle, as they like to say, as in everything is handed to you now, so you don't have to work for it no more. So everybody just start having these weird fetishes and weird habits that they start picking up. The black community is a matriarchy. I had a little faith this recent election because 22% of us voted for Trump, which made me, I was like, okay, we're waking up a little bit now. Compared to a 92% of black women voted for Kamala. Not saying they ain't, at least they're doing a little better. But at least we're waking up a little, man. It's giving me a little faith in the community that we can get back to how the 1940s or the 1950s was, where black man was looked as honorable. They was great people. Imagine, bro, we used to get water hose on us. We used to get all these things, and we still stood tall as men. We was played with, we was belittled, but we still rose up in the 1930s, 50s, and we showed the world that we are great. We get all of the food we eat, from the fried chicken to the pork to the black eyed peas, this chitlin, all this shit, soul food. It came from white people when we was on the plantation. That's what they fed us, and we thought that's what we just stuck with, and then we consider that our culture. Bro, do you niggas know what y'all was eating before y'all came to freaking with slaves? Bro, that's what your culture is before slavery. Why would you say my culture is I speak this English language? That's not your culture, bro. That's not your freaking culture. That is what your culture is. That is the white man culture that you picked up, that they left because they're like, all right, this shit ain't cool. The white man was talking in this ghetto talk back in the days, and then we picked it up and they left it. From it's like we flipped positions, you know. We was the well talked, the well mannered, the well spoken person back in the days, but today's like it's like they tricked us to swap position, just like they tricked us into giving up our birthrights, and that's the brimless, you feel me? But and that's another topic. Alright, we're gonna talk about the child support system and how that messed up the black community. When the United States was first established, when the colonial Americans settled in the U.S., they followed English common law that granted the father custody of children following divorce. By the rise of the Industrial Revolution, more fathers began leaving their farms and villages to work, leaving mothers behind to take care of the children. This is where the image of fathers as wage earners and mothers as caregivers began to emerge and influence custody decisions. In 1939, England enacted the Custody of Infant Act, which allowed the judge to use his own discretion in custody cases. The act permitted a mother to petition courts for custody of her children up to the age of 7. In 1873, the Parliament extended the age of 16 instead of the age to 16 under the tender year doctrine, which presumed that the children early years they are best cared for by the mother. This principle was adopted by the majority of the U.S. states, and the law resigned for the next century, which made nothing but weak and docile men. When you allow women or females to raise men or kids, females are emotional, so if their emotion is a certain way, it's going to get in the way of them mothering their kids properly. You know, a father, he's going to nurture his kids properly regardless, because that's the most logical thing to do, and men are more logical than women. So it makes more sense for you to give, and if we're going to talk about logic, the people the perpetrators of violence towards infants and the elderly are women. The killers of infants in the womb are women. It's this whole push for females to abort their kids. Why would you give this race of people the right to bear custody over something that they don't even feel like they should be able to have a life and experience, and then decide if you want to give it up for adoption or something, but they just want to kill a baby in the womb? What type of sense do that make? It makes zero sense. We seen we seen the Italian mob and how that they was making money. It looked cool in the movies, and then we came out with our own people like Stephanie St. Clair. She was considered the first black gangster from an island in East Caribbeans on December 24th, 1897. She came to the United States from France. In 1912, 15-year-old St. Clair arrived in Harlem and eventually by the 1920s became known for her deep involvement in the steady gangster underworld. Our first black gangster, a female. Who would have thought? I never knew this. And then we came with our Frank Lucas in the late 60s, Larry Hoover, the founder of the Black Disciples in the 1950s, Jeff Ford, who started the Black P Stones in the 60s, Big Meech, the founder of BMF, Laurie Nicky Barnes, the founder of the Council, a black organization gang. Nicky Barnes was his nickname, the Untouchable, for his sneaky tactics in evading arrest and defeating charges on numerous occasions. That just tell me he was a freaking snitch. Like, bro, Frank Matthews, sometimes referred to as Black Caesar or Pee Wee. Frank Matthews is one of the most famous black gangsters in America. He was involved in a large-scale heroin and cocaine drug trade from 1965 until his disappearance in 1973. Spotted in lifestyle in his prime, he is estimated to have had over 20 million in savings at his time of his disappearance. Born in Dunham, North Carolina in 1944, Frank lost his mother at the age of 4 and went on to live with his aunt. Yeah, so I guess we seen the white man do it and we figured we could do it too and do it better, but obviously not. If all of them ended up in jail, they all ended up dead or killed. Majority of them ended up, most gangsters, even the Italian ones, most of them was snitches. Most of them told. Most of them gave up information. You see, that's the life of gangsters. There's no honor among thieves. So they figured, what's the rule of life? Self-preservation. So why would I sit in jail and let these niggas over here do they shit? Nigga, I gotta preserve myself, nigga. I gotta, you feel me? That's what they thinking. But at the same time, that is, it makes no sense to try to be a gangster. Um, there's no win in that. You win nothing. It's nothing but losses that you're taking at the end of the day. Black people love to say, "Oh, we're this, we're that." I'll give it, we, in, naturally in our DNA, we love music, we are athletic, and we love to dance. That is been in us since the beginning of time. That's just how we used to pray to our God. We used to sing to him, dance to him, chant him in different forms. If you really look into it, a lot of voodoo and a lot of unfasunte, whatever Dr. Umar be talking about, is really our history of religion. I do believe we was also took away from our original religion because back then the Haitians, the people who practiced voodoo back then, they used it to like stop them from capturing them or using their government to try to infiltrate something that they have or take some type of rare gem that they have in their country, they used the help from the elders from the other side. But I feel like they took that away and they made voodoo or umfasunte, whatever it's called, seem like it's a bad thing. So us as black people, we stay away from stuff like that. Like today, how black mothers are like the are matriarch or like the gods in the black community. What are look at their view on this type of voodooism. Their view on it is what, bro? If they even catch you even speaking of it, oh, blood of Jesus, white Jesus, I forbid it. Cross and shit, you know? They got us really bad, man. But it's cool though. I have faith in the black people, and I have faith that one day we will wake up and realize that who we are, what our real religion is, what our real practices was, and not what we inherited by coming over here on some boats. This was just a open thought. Black women taking government assistance over black men. It's just like the disrespect and no respect for black men and black women. And I think it's cause like propaganda from media, slavery, all this thing, it just make black men look weak. Cause we're in another country that's ran by another group of men that we have to listen to his order. At the figure of a finger, he can take away your woman. All this shit, and you can do nothing about it. Why do you think your woman will respect a group of men like that? You have nothing in this world right now. You have no country you could be like, bitch, we have this shit tomorrow, and we decide to, they took one of our shit, we could fight about this shit. We don't have none of that. The Middle Eastern man has it, the Chinese man has it, the white man has it, they can say this old Congo, this West Africa, what? No, we don't own that shit, nigga. At the end of the day, it's ran by white people in the background. They just give you the illusion that you're in power. So crazy to me, man. And we're the only group of men that just don't understand this. If we don't have our own home base, how the fuck can our women respect it? Cause they be like, I could say fuck this shit and go back to our home base. They can't do that. They have to stay in this shit. They have to watch this shit. They have to watch you get treated bad. They have to watch their self get treated bad. They have to watch their kids get treated bad. And this is coming from a person who don't believe in freaking racism. I believe in good and evil. I don't believe a majority of white people are bad. I believe a majority is good. But there is always a bad bunch that, and so happily, they might be the people running the shit. And they don't want to see you win, bro. They don't want to see you win. But at the end of the day, this has just been a thought. Talk. Leave comments in the description. Let me know if you want to come up here, speak. My goal for this platform is to have conversations with multiple people, like 6 to 10 people at a time, and we all just have respectful discord or debates or conversations about things that are trending in the world, or political or conspiracy, just some type of the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees. We're just reviewing these things, we're just going over it, we're just having great conversations online. We try to do this, like, in my opinion, every day. I'm gonna really try to upload a video every day, if not every day, every other day. It could be me just talking though, but we're gonna try to do that. And thank you for listening to me. And it has been Honcho having with the High Life Media. Like and subscribe. Get us to 100K. I'm trying to get a plaque. I'm trying to have this thing solidified where I take this more seriously. And I can give you guys great conversations. This is just the beginning.
Counting the money for sure. Can't fuck with no skinless whore. Money bag, finger rolls. Check these tags on my